Okay, so next up, we're going to talk about how to add content to your website. And in addition to that, I want to cover something else, which is going to be a super invaluable tool for you. So I'm going to open a new browser over top of this for now. And I'd like to introduce you to google.com/trends. So what the trend search does is lets you explore topics either specific to your brand if you're doing the brand thing, or if you're interested. So you can see, like, you can get a pretty good gauge on what's trending by going here. It's kind of an interesting thing, more for geeks like me. But if we do a search for hypnotherapy, you'll notice that it's offering some other suggestions here. So just bear those in mind. There's hypnotherapy with a lowercase h, hypnotherapy with an uppercase H. Hypnosis is the next suggestion. Google always surfaces the most important and related things to the top. So, but let's just start with hypnotherapy. And so what it's going to do is it's going to give us some interest over time graphing. So you can see that hypnotherapy has actually somewhat declined in interest over time. And sometimes you can see a forecast. It doesn't seem to be giving us that option here. But so uh, so interest over time. So it reached its peak at around June of 2014 or so, and is sitting at about 3/4 of the popularity that it maybe once enjoyed. This doesn't mean that it's any really less popular. It could still be massive in as far as the searches go. Now you'll notice over here there's another option here to compare. So let's just take a look and see if there was a specific reason that Google suggested hypnotherapy with a capital H in addition. So we're good on that front. We can see that they are identical in every way. So we're not going to worry about that term. We will remove that one. But let's add in hypnosis. Oops. Okay. And let's see how those compare. So interesting, because we can see that hypnosis has enjoyed fairly consistent interest over time. But we can also see that when compared to hypnotherapy, pardon me, the term hypnosis is far more popular. So that's just something that you want to bear in mind. It doesn't need to set the stage for your entire future, because also these things can change. But basically, what we've learned just from this right now is that the term hypnosis is a stronger term as far as Google is concerned than hypnotherapy. Now, if we add in the word therapy, this is where things really get interesting. So this is where you start to think, well, how do we craft a sentence? So if we want to avoid the use of the term hypnotherapy, because we want to capitalize on the fact that therapy is so darn popular, and hypnosis comes in at a relatively close second. What you want to do is you want to think, well, how can I craft a sentence that starts with the word therapy, has hypnosis as close to it as possible without sounding weird? So you wouldn't want to start a sentence by saying therapy hypnosis is, but you could say therapy using hypnosis is, and then carry on the sentence from that perspective. Now you're going to know a lot better than I am what specific terms you're going to want to use, but these are invaluable resources for you, and it goes way beyond this, because if you scroll down, you'll see where the regional interest is, and you can change that region. You can specifically look at what type of searches are people actually doing. So bear in mind that when someone goes to Google and they type in hypnotherapy in their search, a couple of things are going to happen. Number one, they get the localized results. So if you were to type hypnotherapy into Google, you wouldn't be seeing the results in Kelowna. You would be seeing the results that are specific to you. And same goes for the top 10 when it comes to those type of localized businesses. So when you want to think in terms of what is localized, what's likely to be localized versus what's likely to be generalized. So generalizing would be more terms like therapy and more terms like hypnosis, because they're more globally generalized. But you'll notice, and you've probably seen this before, when you go to the bottom where you see searches related to whatever you've just searched for, you're going to see, okay, we don't care about the word Kelowna in your case. We don't care about Center or Kelowna, BC, hypnosis therapy. So that's something that people actually search for, Kelowna hypnosis therapy. So chances are people search for Edmonton hypnosis therapy. Hypnosis therapy Edmonton is what people most commonly search for based on that. So, and all of this, you can't jam it all in one spot. You've got to basically take your make your choices along the way, and this is where additional content is going to come into play. So I noticed when I was searching that it had the quit smoking, and I noticed that's number one on this list of results here as well. So you kind of want to keep a notepad nearby, or something that allows you to start to just keep a list of those keywords, because not only will they come into play with your marketing, but they'll come into play with your long-term objectives of getting and positioning yourself for those specific terms. So I'm going to close up shop here. I think you got a pretty good idea of how that works. So now, looking at the homepage, we've got some information here that you've got presented right away, including testimonials and some brief information about yourself, and book your half-hour consultation. This is your call to action. This should be utmost priority, just like when we saw on the Headspace website where they have it basically right here. And then you've got it broken down into different categories. So one of the things that I would want to do is I would want to take a look at those terms in Google Trends search before I get married to having them in the menu. And also, like I said, we live in a world that it's very simple now, and you have to keep things as simple as possible. So when someone comes to a hypnotherapy website, what are they expecting to find out? Well, number one, they probably want to find out about the hypnotherapist or hypnotherapists. Number two, they probably want to find out about specifically which types or what afflictions, let's call them, you can address through hypnotherapy specifically. So breaking that down into its own section is probably going to be a good idea. So I'm going to leave that with you to put some thought into what you would consider to be a good breakdown of those categories. But just for the sake of argument, let's say that we wanted to add the weight management page. Okay, so we're sorry, this just sort of threw me off a little bit. This is cool. So let's just say weight management is our term. So we're going to copy that. And then here's where I want to show you about adding pages. So you probably saw in my previous tutorial about where the assets page was. Now you'll notice that this is a persistent bar when you're logged in. When you're not logged in, for example, if I were to open this in an incognito window, it's going to prompt me to log in because it doesn't know who I am. So if I go back to the website, you'll see that that black bar does not appear when I'm not logged in because it doesn't know who I am. So that's another little tip for you. But so if you want to add a page, you can do so anytime by going add new and then page. And in this case, our title is going to be weight management. And then we're going to give it a second here because you're going to see the link show up here. And there's just a quick thing that I want to show you once that pops into place here. Come on. Well, it's usually a little bit quicker than that. So let's take this full sentence here now. A weight management system that works. Incidentally, here's another tip. So I've just copied this text that has formatting. Formatting being it's bold, it's blue, and I don't necessarily want to keep that formatting. So if I go Control V, it's going to keep the formatting, and in this case, it didn't. So this something good is happening here. But a tip for you, if you do find that formatting is being extended to what you're trying to paste or whatever, you can do Control Shift V, and that strips the formatting on the way. Now you'll notice here that we've got ednhypnotherapy.com/weight-management. That is a great keyword-rich address, okay? So that's important to know.